Thank you so much for staying with us, everyone. A lot of people, of course, know that the President, Muhammadu Buhari, wants to fight corruption. I mean, several challenges the nation is facing. Bro, if he says that he wants to fight corruption on one hand over a year now, how far have we come? But when the EFCC comes forward to say some senior lawyers are in the way in fighting this corruption, and when there is a call for the cutting down of the powers of the EFCC, it brings to mind, where exactly are we going and how far can we go in this fight? Mr. G.T. Ogunye, a senior lawyer in Nigeria, we've been talking about some corrupt senior lawyers in Nigeria. And of course, he will be talking to us with an unbiased position tonight, isn't it? Yeah. But if you look at it now, maybe I should show you some of the things that the EFCC says about this matter. Their stand on whether or not the prosecutorial powers of the EFCC should be taken. The EFCC says it is too much of a strange coincidence that a suggestion to strip the EFCC of its prosecutorial powers is being floated few months after the commission in unprecedented fashion arraigned some senior lawyers for corruption. For the avoidance of doubt, the commission has recorded more convictions in the last 1 year than all the states and federal ministries of justices combined. That's the statement from the EFCC, and you will wonder where we are at on this matter. If you look at what the EFCC said, a coincidence, what kind of coincidence is this in any way?
You know, let's put this thing in proper perspective. A new NBA president just emerged, and in his maiden or inaugural address, he singled out the EFCC as a body that has to be reformed and as a body that has to be made to shed its prosecutorial powers. The critical question that comes to mind is, why this fixation on the EFCC? And how does EFCC being stripped of its prosecutorial powers advance the fight against corruption? Those are the questions. Because you see, when people, and that's why I'm amazed at the kind of semi-ignorance that exists, even at the upper echelon of the legal profession. EFCC is not the only body that has prosecutorial powers. The police has prosecutorial powers under Section 23 of the Police Act, and that power has given judicial validation up to the Supreme Court in the case of FRN and Osao, reported in Nigerian Weekly Law Report, Part 973, right? NAFDAC has prosecutorial powers under Section 26 of the NAFDAC Act, subject to the power of the Attorney General. NDLEA under Section 71B has prosecutorial powers. Even NDIC has prosecutorial powers under Section 4M. So why the fixation on EFCC?
What does it mean?
What is it? ICPC has prosecutorial powers.
Yeah, because
Customs has prosecutorial powers.
For laymen, the prosecutorial powers becomes, one would want to define it. The EFCC has investigative powers, and they have the prosecutorial powers.
So does NDLA.
So when you remove prosecutorial, when you strip the EFCC of prosecutorial powers, what does that mean?
It means that you are blunting his powers.
But as it stands now, is EFCC maximizing, or is he even achieving its potentials as an anti-graft agency?
No, he can do more. And doing more will include, in my view, strengthening its prosecutorial powers, not taking these powers away, staffing them properly, training the lawyers who are there, indeed encouraging more lawyers to go there, so that young lawyers who are, getting qualified, those people that the NBA leadership says is concerned about their welfare, about unemployment in the legal profession, can find jobs. So it is the duty of the NBA to ensure a vibrant NBA leadership, to ensure that all these agencies have functional legal departments, that have lawyers that can prosecute on their own.
So if
in a specialized fashion.
If the EFCC prosecutorial
this is my imagination, therefore, that the inaugural address of any NBA president in Nigeria will be, oh, I want to reform EFCC, and so we should take away the prosecutorial power, so that what will happen? So that the senior advocate of Nigeria can be the one to exercise this power, go to the office of the Attorney General and be asking for briefs, so they can do what they've done. Haven't they done that in the past?
But again, one would wonder, if you take away the prosecutorial powers of the EFCC, where will that now lie? Who will now prosecute after EFCC has investigated?
That means we'll go back to a situation whereby the office of the Attorney General will now be the one to be prosecuting. Mind you, that office doesn't have the full complement of lawyers that can, in terms of strength. This is the truth. And so this senior advocate of Nigeria will now be the ones to go to the office of the Attorney General, use their influence to now get those briefs. And mind you, those briefs will not be conscientiously, dutifully, and courageously prosecuted the way they have been prosecuted now. Because that has happened in the past.
There are a lot of Mr. Ogunye, there are allegations also that the EFCC does not even prosecute some of these cases properly. That you have several of these charges, but at the end of the day, several of them have been knocked out, and just one or two of them stand a chance.
Their conviction record does not bear that kind of assumption out.
What is their conviction record?
Their conviction record is so high, and that's what the chairman was touting. I mean, in terms of comparison to other Ministry of Justice all over the country.
In this year alone, do you have an idea?
I don't have my hand on it, but I know that their conviction record is very high.
Is it impressive for a government that wants to fight graft in Nigeria, the level of convictions that we've seen in Nigeria in the last 1 year? Is it impressive?
You know, I will answer that
because we've talked about fighting corruption so much.
I will answer that question by telling you that the criminal administration process is just being fine-tuned at the federal level until now. You've not had a game-changing legislation like the Administration of Criminal Justice Act that makes it impossible for criminal defendants and their attorney to have a long drawn-out defense, bifurcating cases, having a preliminary objection, and pursuing same up to the Supreme Court. Some of those sets of governors who were arraigned in 2007 are just coming back from the Supreme Court now, 7 years, 8 years after. Under the new Administration of Criminal Justice Act, that is no longer possible, right? And so, and by the way, that's the law that the Senate wanted to amend the other time.
That has been in effect since last year.
I'm saying that with that law, it does become possible for even the conviction rate to get higher and more robust.
And because a lot of people have said again that the EFCC just engages in media war. It is not really on the ground to do that job. We've seen so much people in the last 1 year or so being prosecuted, but then we've not really heard anything about it. Maybe that's why some people are thinking, prune down the powers of the EFCC, let them focus on investigation, and let prosecutorial powers lie in some other quarters.
When Nigerians were tested for information, they did a lot, mobilizing the civil society to have the Freedom of Information Act. Now, EFCC is giving you information on the state and status of their investigation, and some people are saying that they are engaged in a media trial. What do you mean by media trial? Nigeria is being ruined, so Nigerians don't deserve to know who is ruining their lives. And in any case, those who are the subject of this so-called media war, are they filing for libel or defamation of character? So why are we crying more than the bereaved?
Just a moment. We will go on break. I will still be looking at President Muhammadu Buhari's anti-corruption war. How far? Join us again. We'll be right back.